Let's, even if we have to have it at different time, if you have time, I would sit down with you, I could stay.
Ready?
Whatever you want, I would love to hear your
I'd like to call the order village board meeting for the Village of Cary for Tuesday, December 6, 2016. To order with roll call, please.
Chapman.
Here.
Kostler.
Here.
Cavelli.
Here.
Dudek.
Here.
Kraus.
Here.
McAlpine.
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now move to the open forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. Jake, could you see if there's anybody that signed in? We have Maddie Gomez. Did you have something on the agenda, or you wanted just to?
Just to participate and then possibly question that.
Sure, you can come up to the microphone, please.
Nothing right now, though.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, at the end.
thank you. Now going to the mayor's report, I just want to give a shout out to the Chamber of Commerce for a very successful Mary Carey Parade. It was quite eventful. Kudos to our Public Works Department for making an incredible float for us. Sure beats driving in the back of a pickup truck. Made it much easier for us old people getting in and out of there. So it was really well received. It was cold, wet, and rainy, but there was some shelter in there too. So thank you to the police department too for their guidance. We greatly appreciate that. It was another successful event. One thing that is also too is Chris doesn't like to be recognized for things too, but we decided that it would be best if we, I'm not going to play up in front.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we have a plaque that we're presenting to Chris Clark, who is leaving the Village of Cary as of this Friday. He's going to head up the village administration at the Village of Libertyville. Chris has been with us for a little over 5 years now. We just recognized his 5-year anniversary. He has been a tremendous asset to our organization. He continued to professionalize the organization, had key hires through his tenure with the village. He's helped 3 different boards in 5 years, which is quite a remarkable event, keeping 7 people somewhat happy most of the time. So I just want to say thank you very much from the bottom of the board's heart. I think that you provided some great guidance for us through some turbulent times. And not only that, but just through the incredible growth that we're starting to feel right now, and getting back on track with the economy. Things are really starting to come, and that's through your good stewardship and advice that you've given to the village board. So
Thank you.
thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, Chris.
Now
Get you
on
guys
to
later.
regular business. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items number 1 through 9, and 12 through 13, and 13 as amended. You have your amended motion in front of you.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Chapman.
Yes.
Kostler.
Yes.
Cavelli.
Yes.
Dudek.
As it relates to items 3 and 4, I abstain, but yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
McAlpine.
Yes.
Just 1 second, my packet's a little out of order here. This is number 11, right? Or 10? So.
10 is fines and costs.
No, it's out of order.
Yeah, this is it.
That's it.
Let me know when you're ready.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance 016-12-02, amending Title II Administration and Personnel, Chapter 2.300, Administrative Adjudication, Section 2.300.90, fines and costs applicable to all offenses.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Trustee Kraus?
Actually, Chapman, I think, well, if we're going to take, I wanted to pull these off because I want to vote separately on this first one. And then I think trustee Chapman wanted to have some discussion and table possibly the second one.
Do you want to discuss the first one?
That's fine if we want to move forward with it. I mean,
Okay.
unless, is that what you wanted to have more discussion about also?
I do want to have more discussion. That's why I was hoping to table it, but
Okay, let's then.
Well, let's go through this one right now, and the one that he's questioning, when we call that, we can make that
I'm
determination.
questioning both.
Pardon me?
I was hoping to table both of those items.
Any particular reason you wanted to table those?
Yes, so that we could have more information on the board and so that we could make a better informed decision about the fine structure for the village.
Is that a motion, Dave? To table?
Well, that's why I wanted to wonder how, if Jeff wanted to talk, but I'll
No,
move to, I'll move to table.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay.
Just so you know, the drug paraphernalia ordinance is somewhat time sensitive. It's because the new law that changes the penalties under state law goes into effect January 1st. And so I think the village was looking to enact amendments to its own code in concert with that timing.
Sure, and we had some time lag between the time that the ordinance, that the law was changed in the state before our officers were instructed on how to move forward with that ordinance. And I think that'll be fine. So if we have it in the January meeting, our first week of January for our board meeting, I think that would be close to time enough if we missed a day or two.
I appreciate what you're saying. I just want to understand, is there data that you're missing that we didn't provide in the staff report?
There's-
Would you like, if I can finish that, would you like it reverted back to the committee of the whole at that,
Discussion, if you can enlighten us on
Yes.
what
it's then you can make up your decisions.
Specific reasons for fines being increased, whether or not they even should. No reasons were given at the committee of the whole for why we were raising the fines and fees. Those fees, what are they going to do? Why are we going to do it? So that, I have some information for the rest of the board members, and I was asking, and I did apologize for missing the committee of the whole, but I would like to have another discussion at the next committee of the whole.
Something in regards to this?
Yeah, and then we'll also need to discuss at what committee of the whole of the village board this month. So we just want to make sure we understand
The
timing.
one's got to be passed by January 1st, right?
Is everybody going to be here?
Well, let's one thing at a time.
It's our recommendation that it be adopted by January 1st. If it doesn't, then there isn't an opportunity to write this violation under local ordinance code. It would only be under state law.
So there's two issues. One, what does the January 1 date mean if it's not typically voted upon at board thereafter? So then that would be then voted on at board after the part of your feedback. Go ahead.
Just so I can more clearly make you understand the changes to the schedule, anything that struck out means that that was what existed and it was deleted or added. And for the most part, I believe that most things were decreased in terms of fines and penalties, not increased. I know that there might be some discussion as it relates to drug paraphernalia, but the $750 on that existed now, and it didn't change. It was just moved to a different section. So, because that's part of the state statute as it relates to possession of drug paraphernalia not related to the under 10 grams. So that helps a little bit. For example, we reduced the fine or penalty for the possession of alcohol from 500 to 250 to keep it in line with other things that were of similar nature, to make it more consistent, because that's really what I was trying to achieve here, was some logic and consistency as it related to the fine schedule.
You gave me a great synopsis today. I watched the committee of the whole, and I came up with this after I got the information from you, and
Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
you did great, Chief.
Okay.
You have a motion and a second table, which we would consider first.
So there's a motion on the table to table it. We have a motion and a second
Till December 20th,
till
Committee of
December
the whole.
20th
yes.
Committee of the whole.
for the committee of the whole. Okay, roll call, please. Did you have something to add?
Well, I just don't know why we're sending it back to committee level. Why can't we just bring this back to the board level?
Well, I don't have a problem bringing it back to the committee and then immediately going to the board level. I mean, it's just a
Are we going to vote, we're
conversation.
going to vote on it the same night?
We could vote it out. We've done that in the past to streamline it.
I don't have a problem with that if that's what it takes to meet the January 1st deadline.
I just don't know what we're going to talk about, how the discussion is going to be any different at the committee level than if we discuss it at the board level. It seems like we're just sort of backpedaling to me. So why don't we just talk about it at the board meeting, the next board meeting? Let's table it to that. That's
Well,
assuming
just
that-
assume, because we have also, on the 20th, we have the tax levy on there as well. That could take up a time.
Well,
That's why we-
the issue isn't so much that, the issue is solely if there's, dialogue on the board floor, and this is an ordinance to change the code?
Yeah.
Okay, then, if it's at committee and there's a lot of changes in debate, it has
Right.
to be drafted so that it can be voted on. When there are times when we have more elementary items, we do at times go committee and board the same night, to get some of the dialogue done at committee where there's longer time and bring it to board to vote. This one, I'm still trying to grasp completely the issues, and that's why I would be concerned about a double night, show with that, unless Adam says that we could somehow draft it and have it voted on that same night and do it, properly with public notice.
Yeah, Jim, I get it, but had I been able to send the HTM,
Do you want to talk about the issues now?
no, because I've got information to the board, but I have a couple of other articles that I wanted to get to them, and I've got to figure out how to send HTM on our mail system to them. So it's a pretty meaty subject, so it's not just, a couple of minutes.
Sent me something on rotating police schedules. There was nothing that you sent me on fine structures.
Today I did.
I didn't get anything today.
Did everybody else get it?
I got
You don't know? Okay, well,
The motion on the table is to table this and to the next committee meeting.
right.
Would that be okay?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Chapman?
Yes?
Costello?
No.
Covelli?
No.
Dudek?
No.
Kraus?
Yes.
McAlpine?
No.
Call the vote.
Any other? Reverting back to the original motion,
This is on.
amending Title II. Roll call, please.
Costello?
Yes.
Covelli?
Yes.
Dudek?
Yes.
Kraus?
No.
McAlpine?
Yes.
Thank you. And moving on to number 11, which was pulled, which is ordinance 016-12-03, amending Title IX, Public Peace, Morals, Welfare, Chapter 9.36, Drug Paraphernalia. Do you have a motion?
I do. I move to table the committee of the whole meeting for further discussion by this board.
Second.
Well, I think we need a motion and a second on this before we do that for the tabling, right?
Or back to number 2?
So we have to have a motion on the table first before you table the motion.
Right.
Dave's made the motion. Is there a second?
No, Dave's is still
No,
table.
What they're saying is you need to have an affirmative motion to get 11 on the table.
I'll make a motion for it to be on the table.
I'll second it.
And now,
And now you
is
want
there
to
any
go.
discussion about that? You go ahead and I'll discuss. I'll say I move to table until December 20th committee of the whole meeting for further information for this board.
I'm just going to throw out here, I mean, can you share with the group right now? I mean, I know you have some stuff that you wanted to
There
send.
needs to be a second before we talk
Oh,
about
he
it.
did second. I made a motion, you seconded.
Right. And so now we're in discussion. And at that point, I made a motion
Okay.
to table this
Okay.
until December 20th.
Is there a second?
So
Is
is
there
there
a
a
second on
second?
the
I'll
table?
second it.
All right. So now your question is, can we talk about this tonight? Sure. Let's talk about it tonight.
Do we have to vote on now the tabling first?
Yeah, you can-
Oh,
Hold on, you're
No, you
getting
can
ahead of
talk about
yourself.
it.
You can have discussion about the motion to table now.
correct.
That's all.
Is there anything we can talk about before we vote on tabling that you could relate to us now as to, particularly on this one?
Well,
Why
then
you
you'd have to vote
wanted,
no about tabling it.
I understand
Sure,
that, but
yeah.
I'm just talking about.
Absolutely, absolutely.
About why he wants to table. Is there anything we could do to talk about it? You can share with us why you want to do that.
Yes, without putting out, specifics and bringing a state representative here, which I'm, prepared to do, to present, a PowerPoint presentation to about our fee structure and about our ordinance structure on certain things, about talking about obviously I won't get to talk about the fee structure, but I did have much more discussion than could be relayed here tonight. And so that's why I'm asking for an opportunity. If the board doesn't want it, just like I said in my email, if you don't want to give me the opportunity, hey, that's fine. I'm just asking for it, and if not, then we'll
I'm just looking at, this is really just pertaining to the public peace, morals, welfare regarding drug paraphernalia.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to think of, is there something that that someone could bring to it? I mean, do you have any knowledge of the information that you want to relay to us? I mean, I realize you can't speak for someone that you may have wanted to bring in, but could you give me the gist of what it is that you feel we need to hear about before we can make a decision
Sure,
on this?
Yeah, I don't believe, no, I can't.
Okay.
So, if I can't get the vote, I can't get the vote.
I
But
understand.
it'd be wrong for me to bring that up tonight.
All right, we have a motion on the table a motion to table this. Can I have a roll call on that, please?
Can I just ask Adam a question?
The other one was not, this one is.
Roll call on tabling.
Chapman?
Yes?
Yes to
Costler?
table?
Costler?
No.
Covelli?
No.
Dudek?
No,
Kraus?
Yes.
McAlpine?
No.
Thank you. Back to the original motion. Amending Title IX, Public Peace, Morals, and Welfare, Chapter 9.36, Drug Paraphernalia. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Chapman?
No?
Costler?
Yes.
Covelli?
Yes.
Dudek?
yes,
Kraus?
Yes.
McAlpine?
I'm sorry, I've totally lost. I apologize. I lost my, yes, I pass it.
Thank you for bearing with us. Moving to items for separate action. I will entertain a motion. First of all, we have Jacob Reif is being recommended for our interim village administrator. He's been with the Village of Cary for over 8 years, served in many different capacities within the Village of Cary. He is a key employee, trusted employee, and we wish him well. He'll be steering the ship starting this Friday afternoon, I imagine. So I will entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Jacob Reif as interim village administrator with the rate of pay equal to $120,000 per year payable biweekly for the term of the appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Hold on. I move to table this until we vote on item number 2. Do I have a second?
Is there a
I'll
second for
second
that?
that.
I'm fine with that.
Roll call, please, on tabling.
Chapman?
Yes.
Costler?
Yes.
Covelli?
Yes.
Dudek?
No.
Kraus?
Yes.
McAlpine?
Yes.
So it's tabled until after we finish
Table till-
discussing 2.
We'll
Right.
bring this up first one. Okay, moving on to now it's the first time. I will entertain a motion to approve an employee leasing agreement for municipal consultant services.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Is there anybody here from the audience that would like to address the village board regarding this? None? Any discussion from the village board? Roll call, please.
Chapman?
Yes.
Costler?
No.
Covelli?
No.
Dudek?
Yes.
Kraus?
No.
McAlpine?
Yes.
Mayor Koenig?
Yes.
We should have talked about it.
Okay, reverting back to, pardon me?
Back to item 1.
Yeah, back to item. I will entertain a motion to approve the appointment of interim village administrator Jacob Reif as previously mentioned.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Would we be able to, can I make a motion to break those two apart, his pay and then to appoint him as an interim and then vote on the pay?
You could make an amendment.
I'd like to amend the motion then to vote first on whether or not Jacob should become the interim administrator, and then secondly, vote on the pay increase.
I second that.
Okay, we have yet another amended motion here for, to break out the two to separate the interim pay versus the interim village administrator. So we'll go, I need a roll call on that.
Well,
please.
let's be sure everyone's aware of what they're voting on. So if the village attorney can help us to just make sure the board is clear. that'd be helpful.
The motion that's being voted on is whether to amend the original motion by breaking it up into 2 questions.
Right.
Can we discuss it at all at this point? Before a roll call?
You can discuss
Okay, so
whether.
I want to understand why we want to break it down into 2. I'm just surprised by that. I would just love some clarification as to what your thought process is of breaking it down to 2 separate issues.
Well, I don't have an issue with Jacob becoming the interim village administrator, but I do have an issue with increasing the pay, that amount, when we're hiring a consultant to come in and work 2 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah, I second what Jeff's saying, that the amount that we're paying for this consultant is equal to $218,000 per year salary. And now on top of that, we're going to increase Jake's salary potentially up another $15,000. So I do have issues with that.
I'm sorry, Jim, when you say that it's equal to $218,000 annually,
It's going in so many directions. We got to have.
this is talking about whether or not to separate this because of the salary versus, are you saying that's a bad thing, the 218,000? And if you are, what do you base that on, considering the type of experience that we have here that we're looking to hire?
Right, so just to clarify, you gave an annualized rate. The term of the contract on its face is only until May 12th.
No, I understand that, but we're paying an hourly rate that it equals out to 218,000 a year if that was to happen for a whole year. Now, and that has to be put into context. You're willing to pay somebody who's going to work 2 days a week at the village hall $42,000 when the median annual income in this town is probably around $50,000 a year.
But what is it for a consultant who's worth $43,000 a year?
Why do we need a consultant that's worth any amount? I don't understand why we need a consultant in the first place.
And that's what we'll discuss in the second motion.
No, that's already been discussed.
Okay.
We are, the annualization of the increase in Jacob's pay would be from now until the end of
Right, I
April.
understand.
So it's not an entire year. The amount quoted in the contract for this consultant is basically a not to exceed. It's not going to reach that amount. It's going to be based on projects that are dictated by.
That's missing the point I'm trying to make. We're paying this guy a lot of money, and on top of that, we're basically arguing about a raise for Jake, okay?
Well, Jake is
This is
moving
all
into-
money that the taxpayers pay. We have to get that through our heads as a board.
It is, and it's all budgeted already to the specific line items. Jacob will now take over the 24-hour operation of the village administrator. He is on call 24 hours a day. He will be handling all the day-to-day operations of the village of Cary. We feel that it's in his best interest, as well as this board's and the village of Cary, that we compensate him for this, because we don't know what's going to happen in the spring.
And I understand that, and last night I said I would be supportive of hiring somebody to support Jake in that role. And in that condition, I would be supportive of a pay raise for Jake. Okay? Because if he had support staff to help him accomplish the goals of being a village administrator, and we'd still save money in the long run if we did that and hired staff to support Jake. Instead, we went down a different path, and now we're paying $42,000 for somebody to say yes or no to what Jake is doing. And I'm just not on board with it. I'm sorry. It's a waste of money.
I think there could be some comment. I'm going to ask the village attorney again. Are we in order here? The trustee has made a motion to split, and has that been voted on? And then there's, discussion regarding that, and answers can be provided to some of this. However, are we in order?
Right now, the order is to debate the motion to separate the question.
And under the debate is the reasons why.
The discussion is sort of merging. The discussion on the discussion on whether to split the question is merging into the underlying motion itself.
Right.
Jeff, if the motion was intact, would you have a number to offer in place of the 120,000?
I'm not really in favor of giving any kind of an increase at this point. I mean, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Personally, I would have rather given Jake the increase than hire this consultant. I wish we would have went that route. I just think Jake's going to be doing a bulk of the work, and Jake should be compensated for that. And you have somebody who's going to be in here part-time who's going to be basically reaping the benefits. And we just talked about at Committee of the Whole about raising the tax levy to pay for police pension stuff. That was $21,000. This is $42,000 we're talking about. That's why I have a hard time sitting up here discussing a lot of these financial issues when it doesn't make any sense to me why we're hiring this consultant at all. At all. I would have rather paid Jake that money.
That's what I was saying too, Trustee Cavalli.
But now instead of $42,000, now we're talking about $60,000.
But it's not $60,000. The increase is amortized over 4 months.
Okay, so $42,000 and whatever the amortization is, it's a lot more than what we could have.
But it's still well within our budgeted payroll
How about we
expenses.
save money? Why don't we ever talk about saving money?
We
I
save money
understand- I
every single
understand
day.
We budgeted it, but if we underspend, isn't that all the better?
Well, let me, and I'm going to ask Michael to chime in if I've got this accurate, because we're talking about numbers and money. So kind of what I did is I took what, when I'm looking at this, I'm analyzing it from a financial standpoint also. Because of course, anytime we're spending taxpayer money, that's what we need to look at, and what does it cost to run our village and what's going on. And we're looking at saying, Jake is one person, and we had this discussion last night, and Jake came to us and said he did want this, and he did want help. So I look at that and I say, I want to give Jake every opportunity to be as successful as possible in this new role. And he feels that he needs this. But then I think we need to go delve a little further and say, well, what is the cost? Because, you know, Trustee Cavalli's right. We do want to look and say, are there ways that we can save taxpayer money? So I looked at it and I said, if I'm going to go annualize, and then we can divide it by 2 from a 6-month standpoint. But we're looking at what the current salary is for our village administrator, and say roughly the 147. Then we've got the IMRF that we pay into, which is roughly a little under 15%. So that's approximately $22,000. Then we're paying insurance, which is approximately for family insurance around $18,000. Then we're paying for Social Security and Medicare, which is 7.65%. So I just took that a little bit low and I said, I took it at 7.5. So we're looking at currently for that position, we pay, our package right now is about $203,000. So for 6 months, it's about $101,500, just taking it divided by 2. If we bring in a consultant at $45,000, give Jake a $15,000 raise, we're still, you know, that's roughly increasing 60, you know, 60, 40, 55, 60,000. Take it off of 101.5, we're still at a huge savings for our village.
And
So I don't
add-
see how we're
and
expending
add
more
another
money.
40-some thousand to that to put into the police pension. So.
That's a separate issue, though. The
Is it
police
though?
pension fund is, we could take that savings rate and put it towards that.
Okay.
We're saving money on this.
I just,
We're not spending money.
after last night's meeting that we had about this consultant, I was really undecided going into that meeting. After I left that meeting, I was more confident than ever that we do not need that consultant. I did not hear any valid arguments in favor of it. I think Jake is completely capable. I think all the department heads, from what I've seen, are completely capable of stepping up for a couple months and not hiring this consultant. I'm very disappointed that that passed. And now I'm at a standstill. Do I approve even more money? And it's a shame because I do think he deserves it. But now it's like, okay, now we're not spending 40, we're spending a lot more. And I have to think about the taxpayers too.
Sure.
We have a amended motion on the floor to separate these two items. One, to appoint Jake the interim village administrator, and the second being the pay increase. I have a motion and a second on that. I need a roll call.
Chapman,
No.
Costler,
Yes.
Cavalli,
Yes.
Dudek,
No.
Kraus,
Yes.
McAlpine,
No.
Mayor County.
No. Okay, now we revert back to the original motion to approve the appointment of the interim village administrator at a pay increase of $120,000 to $120,000.
Reread that because that didn't come.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Jacob Reif as interim village administrator with the pay rate equal to $120,000 per year, payable biweekly for the term of the appointment.
So moved.
Second.
Are we voting on a split motion?
No, we already did
it's all
that,
one.
failed.
That failed.
Now we're voting on this. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
I just have to say something. Jake, I believe in you. I said that last night. My vote was for you, and I wanted you to take this all on. And now this has put a few of us in a really bad situation because I want to give you that money. But I am really torn right now as to whether we should as a board and whether the spending, the spending continues. I just wish you would have said last night, I am more than willing to accept this position and do the best for this village. I just cannot get past
I
that.
believe he did make that statement last night.
But he wanted help, and that's fine. Okay, Jake, I get it, but I wanted to the plate, and I'm
totally against you now. That's not where I'm going with this. To give you a raise on top of this, I'm struggling with it.
I really am. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Then just vote no.
I still look at, we're saving $41,500 over the cost. So I think the taxpayers need to realize that if you look at the whole overall package, still doing this and still giving Jake an increase saves $41,500 in our cash flow. So we're not spending more money. We're affording Jake something that he asked for, and I think that I want to give him. It's a lot to ask for someone to take over. We have a very, very small staff. We've gone from over 90 employees down to 58. So we've taken a lot of attrition through the recession. That's a lot of job cutting and a lot of expense saving for our taxpayers. Him to come in and do two people's jobs is absolutely, it's unrealistic with the amount of things that we have on the table. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna go right back to Jake and say, this is what he said he needs to succeed. Then I think we owe it to him to give him that opportunity to be successful in this endeavor.
I asked last night, though, if that didn't pass, if he would still be okay. And the answer I got from you was that you would be fine without that consultant, that you prefer it, that you would still manage. I had no doubt from the meeting last night that you could run this village at all, whatsoever.
We'll get the job done. As I said before, yes, I think it is important to have the consultant here. And I just want to be clear, and I thought I was clear last night, that I do want the position. I do want the position.
I want to support you too, Jake. I think that the whole problem here is that consultant. That's really what the issue is. And I'm going to vote in favor of hiring you as the interim because that's what I want. Unfortunately, it has this additional money tied to it, which I'm not real happy with, but it's the way things are, so.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way that you do, Trustee Kraus. Like, I want you as the interim. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But I'm sitting over here struggling, like, should I abstain? What should I vote? Because I don't agree with the fact that we just are hiring this consultant for $42,000 on top of paying more money. I would have rather just given you all the money.
So let's talk about the consultant, since that hasn't even, been brought up for this
No, it
vote.
was
We
That's
approved
done.
it. We approved it.
It's done.
We should have talked about it.
Okay.
I don't know why we didn't talk about it.
But weren't we just talking about the,
Didn't when it was voted on.
We talked about it
should have been
all
brought
last
up.
night. I thought we beat a dead horse last night, and no one's going to change their mind. I mean, that's how it goes. So I'm ready to vote whenever I know.
I am too.
Roll call, please.
Chapman,
yes?
Hostler,
Yes.
Pobelli,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
McAlpine.
Yes,
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake.
thank you, Jake.
Administrator's report, you want to give us your last?
No
Yeah.
report, sir.
All right. That's a rich one.
Wow. Any department head, chief, do you have anything for us?
I've provided the department head report to you in your packet, if you have any questions about it. There was a significant decrease in initiated activity, but there was also some increased use of both training and benefit time. So that doesn't explain it all, But I will also tell you that when I ran the numbers for November, they came back up. So it was kind of like one of those 1 month reductions in initiated activity that sometimes occur. So, because everything's cyclical, I'm just going to tell you everything's cyclical. But there are good things in regards to the report, and that is that a lot of the issues related to like theft,
those are all down, and they continue to have a trend that are being reduced, as well as identity theft. And there are certain activities that we are increasing in and continue to increase in, specifically and we still see a consistent or a level rate of traffic crashes. And the only other thing that was an anomaly in October was that we investigated armed robbery at one of the local businesses. That would explain the 100% increase in armed robberies from 0 to 1.
Yeah.
If there's no questions, that's all I have.
And you still feel confident about the Turning Point, the Advocate? It looks like you referred quite a few 6 individuals, families this past.
Yeah, in October, we did refer 6 individuals for, they made contact with our advocate.
Okay.
And as you can see, and look, I wish that it was appropriate to say that's why we're seeing a reduction in domestic violence arrests. I can't say that because I know there's other things that affect that. But right now, what we're looking at is an 11% decrease in domestic battery arrests. And in regards to the domestic calls, we've seen a decrease of about 9%, 9.8%. So I think anything in that regard is a good thing.
Sure. Thank you.
Eric?
Just one thing to add, since our weekly report last week, we had our annual MPI, our Municipal Partnering Initiative meeting this week, and I'm happy to report that there's a whole number of additional McHenry County partners that have become involved in the process. So basically, from 2015, the Village of Cary was partnered with one other McHenry County municipality on a joint bid. For 2017, we have lined up what's looking to be 9 potential joint bids. So the partnerships are flowing, and we're very appreciative of the support from the other towns, which also obviously is a savings to the Village of Cary. So that's our update.
Thanks, Eric.
Jacob? Mary? Brian?
Just want to provide one brief update regarding the UDO, an ordinance where the village is currently working on. Our consultant is finalizing their analysis of our codes based off the feedback that was received in the workshops earlier this fall. And we'll be meeting with staff with the village this week to discuss those possible changes or recommendations they would have. Basically, the plan at this point is to develop a list of all the possible recommendations that would be provided for updates to the zoning ordinances and sign ordinances. And once that list is finalized with staff and our consultant, we'll bring that back for a workshop before the zoning board, potentially this board as well, to get a final approval on those changes before they actually go forward and start drafting revised code. So that those workshops will likely take place in January time period next year, and then the next phase will be starting that process to write new regulations for the village.
Okay, thank you. Any future agenda items of discussion by the village board? We will forego executive session this evening. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Cha-ching.
Okay. Okay. My picture of you too.
Luck, man. Winners make their own laugh. Sure. Thanks.
Yeah.